Let's get more on this now with Dr. Angelique Coetzee, who joins us from Johannesburg. She's a medical clinician and the former chairperson of the South Africa Medical Association. Really good to have you back with us, Doctor. This Mpox outbreak in Africa is resurrecting this debate about vaccine equity that was raised quite starkly during the COVID-19 pandemic. Do you believe we've learned anything about the equity of vaccine distribution during this Mpox outbreak?
We're very slow learners. I don't think we have learned a lot. We have seen exactly the same trend during COVID, where the first world countries gather all the vaccines, and with subsequent that there is not enough vaccines for Africa. Now, in the case of Mpox, we know that Mpox originated in the west of Africa, or the mid Africa. We know that there's vaccines. We know those vaccines are extremely expensive, and it actually hinders access to countries who really need it. And as we have seen, some of the first world countries already bought up a lot of vaccines. I'm thinking here of Great Britain, who acquired a lot of vaccines. They haven't had one case that I'm aware of. So it makes it very, very difficult.
Yes, and Doctor, we know that South Africa, where you are, does have one of the few vaccine manufacturing facilities on the continent. Yet, despite that, we aren't seeing the Mpox vaccine being produced there, or at least in the numbers that's needed. Why is that?
So Mpox vaccines are not produced in South Africa currently, to my knowledge. What we have seen with the COVID vaccines is the South African company was actually filling what we call, they fill the vaccines. It's not that they manufacture it so that they can distribute it. And I think we need to have that capability on Africa, on the continent of Africa, to produce from scratch vaccines, especially, as we have seen with Mpox, that is endemic to Africa. And eventually it will spread to the rest of the world. But if we are not having the opportunity to produce from scratch, it is very, very difficult then to be standing in the queue to get these vaccines to the first world countries.
Yes, and on Tuesday at the UN General Assembly, the US President Joe Biden announced the donation of 1 million Mpox vaccines to Africa, as well as at least $500 million to African countries to help with this latest outbreak. That's all well and good, isn't it? But back to your point about Africa being self-sufficient, it's probably more important at this point that Africa produce its own vaccines so it doesn't have to rely on the charity of others.
You're absolutely 100% correct. So although 100 or a million vaccines sounds a lot, it's a drop in the bucket. It is not enough. There is a lot of people that's been at risk and infected. So 1 million, no, it's not enough. And then even as we have said or seen, that the ongoing war, the lack of water, the infrastructure, all of that needs to be addressed as well. So it's not only on the vaccine side that we need to produce the vaccines ourselves, but also we need more stability in our governments, so that we open up this capability to entrepreneurs to be able to put up these fabrics and at that specific countries where it's most needed.
Okay, Dr. Angelique Coetzee, we'll have to leave it there, but it's always great to get your analysis. Thank you again for joining us.
Thank you so much.